one of the things that Pastor Dio taught last week was that when we worship fully, it calls us to be more giving, to be generous in our giving. I think it's with that heart that last week, our church Harvest was able to participate in the Angel Tree Project, where we threw this party for children who has a family member who is incarcerated and was able to be them. And so on their behalf and on on Jesus' behalf, our Lord and Savior's behalf, to share the love of Christ with them. And so I think it's with that same heart that Brother Josh Ritter, who'll come up to share his testimony, just wanting to make Christmas special for some who Christmas isn't special, otherwise special. And so I think it's with that same heart of just wanting to transform the world around them for Jesus that he's able to come up. So let's encourage Brother Josh Ritter, who's a firefighter. Let's encourage him as he comes up and shares his testimony with us.
Hi, I'm Josh. I'm really nervous. I'm not a really good public speaker, but I'm here to share a shot with a firefighter with you. So many of you have given me your prayers. So many of you have helped me out this year, and it's only fair that I come up here and I thank you in person, and I also share this testimony. I'm going to keep it real short. I'm going to keep it as short as I can. I'm going to try and knock out as much of the history as I possibly can. The whole event started in 2014. We've been doing it for 5 years. This is our 5th successful year. We were able to help support 45 children and give them a Christmas. When we first started, I'm going to explain what Shop with a Firefighter is. A bunch of us firefighters, we get together every single year and we try to raise up as much money as we possibly can. And we bus in a bunch of kids. I make the phone calls. We try to get as many homeless children and children that are in shelters, bus them out to us to a store. We give them a gift card. Santa Claus is waiting there for them. We're all dressed up in our fancy uniforms. We have fire trucks all lit up. We have bagpipers playing. And these kids come running off the bus, and we basically form like a gauntlet of firemen, and Santa Claus gives them all a gift card, and he assigns them a firefighter. The firefighter goes inside the store and takes them shopping, and they can get whatever they want with the gift card that we give them. Typically, we give them about $100 per kid. Oh, all right. Yeah, so we give them about $100 per kid. When we first started this back in 2014, we were just a bunch of sour firemen sitting around a table drinking on a cup of coffee, and we were trying to figure out ways that we could actually give back to our community and help out as much as we can. 3 of us came up with an idea, and this was the idea. It was the idea to support children. We knew that there were a lot of children that didn't have Christmas. We saw it with our own eyes. We saw kids who would be home alone or not have parents or not have not have anybody that would just give love upon them. And it was rough. The very first year that we did it, we had no organizational skills whatsoever. I never organized an event in my life. I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't know where the money was going to come from. I had no idea where we're going to get the kids. And it just seemed like the amount of stress that ran through me, everybody for some reason looked to me and they're like, what are we going to do next? And I kept saying, the same answer I kept giving to them over and over again was, I have no idea. I really have no idea, and somehow things worked. I know why they worked and I know how they work now, but for some reason, everything just kept falling right into place, one step after another. Every step that we took, every hurdle that I came across, I was terrified. I was extremely terrified. There were times where I was clenching my fists, I was getting stressed, and I had no idea. And my biggest fear was that I promised 17 children the very first year that we were going to do it. I promised 17 children that we're going to give them a Christmas, and I was afraid that I wasn't going to deliver. And how awful would that be, that a bunch of firemen, with kids who are already not going to have a Christmas, make a promise and, not be able to follow through with it. But at the very end, God came through, and God helped us deliver that Christmas to these kids. These kids came in. There was only a few of us firefighters. We were all dressed up, and the kids came off the bus. We took them shopping. We did the whole thing I just explained to you, and something unexpected happened. I never thought it would happen this way, but for some reason, God showed me something else that day. He showed me that it wasn't just about the kids. Firefighters, we see awful things. We are hardened individual. Our hearts are calloused just from years of working on the job and working in the streets. And I saw men and women of the service come out, and they're just completely broken. Like tears running down their face, open hearts. What they described to me, testimony after testimony after testimony, was that they were seeing the kids not buying gifts for themselves. They were going out and they were buying gifts for their parents. They're going out and buying gifts for each other. They were going out and buying gifts for their siblings. And some of them were just buying gifts or clothes. Never had brand new clothes for themselves. And they would just pick out clothes, and they were more excited to have a brand new pair of shoes than they were a toy in the aisle. And it was heartbreaking for me, and I didn't know if I had the strength to do it ever again. I wanted to walk away, which leads me into my next. So fast forward a couple years, God called upon me again. He wanted me to do Shop with the Firefighter again, and I was terrified. I didn't want to go through that stress. I didn't want to do it. And I got orders from the U.S. government to deploy. I'm also in the reserves, and I was deployed to the Middle East. I actually, secretly deep down inside, I couldn't be more happy. It was the perfect out. I could walk away with Shop and the Firefighter, and I could actually have the perfect excuse to give everybody. You know, I'm off fighting a war. So sorry, I don't know what else to tell you. And people were like, oh, okay, man, we understand. I was deployed for a couple of months, I apologize. I did. I saw things, I got a phone call. I came back from a really bad mission, and when I was over there, I was taught by man to hate other men, to callous my heart even more, and I get back from a mission, and I was covered in filth, and I couldn't even make it to my bed. I was so tired. I collapsed next to my bed. I still had my boots on. I had my gear, and all of a sudden my phone goes off. It rings, and I pick it up, and I answer it. And it's all the firefighters back home, and they sit there and they're telling me how much they love me. And, they say, hey, we're thinking about you. We're with you. Our prayers are with you, and we want nothing more to be with you. And one by one, all the voices started to fade off the phone except for one, and his name was Nick. And he sat there, and he was like, hey, I need to know. He's like, I need to know what's going to happen with Shop with a Firefighter this year. And I sat there, and I just... I sat there, and I had rolled my eyes, and I scoffed, and I was like, you got to be kidding me. And I told him, I was like, hey, man, I'm in a war, And he was like, I know. And he said, but we've talked about it, and he said, this mission cannot stop. It just can't. And he said, we'll be your eyes, we'll be your ears, we'll be your hands over here. If you're willing to lead us, and if you're willing to guide us, and you tell us everything we need to do, we'll do it, we'll make it happen. So I shrugged it, and I said, all right, fine, we'll do it. So we did it. I organized everything. I sent emails, I made phone calls. I tried my best to tell them everything they needed to do. Go over here, sign this paper. Go over here, meet this person. Go over here, call this organization. Go over here, meet these kids. All right, go over here, talk to the news media. And I was just back to back to back to back to back. Finally, a couple weeks go by, I completely forgot about it. And then I get another one. We get another bad mission. And same thing. I come back, and I was tired, and I was filthy, and I could barely make it back to my bunk, and I was full of anger, and Wi-Fi kicks in, and text message after text message after text message after text message just come rolling through, hundreds of them. And I look at my phone, and I see it's pictures of all the firefighters, and they're all with their kids, and the kids have gifts, and they're all smiling. And there's another text message, and it was from another firefighter, and they said, "We did it." And they said, "Merry Christmas," and that was what was said to me. And I just collapsed to my knees, and I cried like I never cried before. And I prayed, and I begged God for forgiveness. I begged God for forgiveness. There's how selfish I could be, that I was willing to let shot with a firefighter die because I was concerned about my own stress and my own, And we had a successful year. I learned that Christmas was not about gift giving. It was not about receiving gifts. I learned the true meaning of Christmas that year in the desert. And the true meaning of Christmas is love. It's a love story. And it's something where we show our love to each other, we show our love to our brothers, and we show our love to our sisters, and God has shown us the ultimate love. And I'm reminded every day, every single day. And every year, this story is hard for me to tell, and I don't really tell it often because it's a coward story. I'm the biggest coward, and every year I try to find a reason to run away from God and this mission. I try to find a reason to put it down, and God keeps reminding me that it's not my choice. And he keeps holding it up in front of me, and he keeps telling me to move along with it. And what I ask from each and every one of you in here is that you just prayer, lots of prayer, for strength for all of us, and that we maybe one day can unite the church and the fire department, and that we can work towards this mission. Yeah, this year was actually the very first year that we were able to get I actually incorporated the church. I asked my house church to follow us into this mission, and they more than willingly came out, and they supported us, and they made cookies for all the kids, and all the kids came off the bus, and they had sugar cookies and Christmas cards, and that was all thanks to the house church. And the most beautiful thing that I could ever see was that as I stood in the background and I looked out in front of everybody, I saw firefighters, and I saw this church working hand in hand, side by side, working together. And then I saw kids with smiling faces. And then I saw that this mission is a lot bigger than any of us. It's about God and what he wants for these kids. And thank you so much, everybody, for your support, your prayer, and giving me the time to come up here and speak.